I can stretch my arm, but I can stretch my brain. I can stretch my arm, but I can stretch my brain. It's bigger, much bigger, much stronger. My name is Ifya Ayyaramati. I am 8 years old. I have osteogenesis imperfecta, which means my bones are soft, it can break easily. Yeah. You to stretch your mind.
She may not be able to walk, but gradually and with support, Ayayi has finally learned to stand.
Grandma, I think I can do that now.
According to experts, osteogenesis imperfecta is a genetic condition which cannot be cured. But this hasn't dampened Ayayi's bubbly spirit.
Hello, people. Today, you're going to see me, the real girl. I love to sing, I love to dance, I also love to read, and I also love to play.
But sometimes, playtime can end in multiple fractures.
So here is me. I broke my bone too. Here's one and here's the other one. Then when I broke my bone, I always cry because it's painful. I can break my bone easily. If I let's say, if I throw something, then I will break my bone. If I stretch my arm, I can break my bone. All the things I can do, I can stretch, I can break my bone. So that's why I have the condition. My mom bandaged my arm, and she used something to split my arm. Every time when I broke my bone, my mom would put something. Then she rub it, then it will heal and heal and heal. That was my mom's wedding.
Where were you in that picture?
I hate to say it.
Why not?
I so disgusting.
Just say it, I want to hear. Where were you in that picture?
I was in mommy's stomach.
Like many newlyweds, Ayayi's parents were happy to find out they were expecting their first child. But halfway through the pregnancy, doctors noticed something unusual and advised them to abort the baby.
So I got pregnant, and it was perfect from the beginning. So 28 weeks into the pregnancy, I had to take a scan. And that was where the whole story began. The scan told us that the child I was carrying had deformities. And then the deformities were of the limbs. And so I had to go back to my doctor, and then the doctor advised that we terminate the pregnancy. Honestly, it was a very difficult thing for us to do as Christians. We finally made the decision to keep the pregnancy. When she was born, then we realized that we were carrying more than we were even told. She was crying a lot. She was really crying. And so I remember the doctor at that time said, "Hey, this your baby cries a lot." Little did we all know that she had fractures.
After weeks in the intensive care unit, Ayayi was finally discharged from hospital. Being first-time parents to a child with a rare condition, Justina and her husband Kofi were left unsure of exactly how to take care of a child with brittle bones.
That part was quite difficult because we had no know-how as to what we were supposed to do, and the hospital also couldn't give us much knowledge or much ways as to how to go about it. All that they told us was to go and read about it, and then they left us with a bottle of paracetamol syrup.
It is estimated that 5 out of every 100,000 people worldwide are born with osteogenesis imperfecta. Ghana's figures on the condition are not readily available, and treatment options in the country are limited.
The common medication that's given is called bisphosphonates. And this is an injection which is given every month, which helps in terms of preventing and strengthening the bone, but it doesn't alter the condition. When there's a break, even if there's a little bend, normally the bone itself will straighten But in brittle-bone disease, this process does not take place. And because of that, the bones have deformities, which is not the usual position in normal patients.
It was very difficult from the onset because when she wasn't talking, then that one, you have to figure it out. Changing her diapers, putting clothes on her, bathing and all those things sometimes brings fractures.
As Ayayi grew older, the fractures continued.
Honestly, along the line, I had to stop counting because if I should count, I don't know how long I'll go, but I would say she's broken more than 100 times. We're going to have some therapy time, okay?
According to science, Ayayi's condition is expected to worsen as she gets older. However, water therapy and other exercises have helped.
So you do your legs first and your back. We started doing strengthening exercises with the legs and then her spine as well. So we do a lot of water therapies. That is, we go to the pool or sometimes we just fetch water and then put her in for her to bubble the legs in it and the arms in it.
In addition to dealing with the physical challenges of the condition, Ayayi's parents have also had to deal with the stigma associated with raising a disabled child.
In Africa, we are sort of a superstitious continent. You see, when you go the superstitious way, that's when it can lead to divorce and breakages and all that. Because you might be told certain things which you cannot verify. For example, if it's your fault or it's the fault of your wife, what are you going to do?
Genetics is quite important. There are different types, but some are dominant, which means that if a parent had it and it's passed the children, the child will get it. Others are what we call recessive. It means that the parent may not show any features of brittle disease, but can pass it on to the child.
Ever since she came into our life, I think I've had more positive blessings than the negative. And there's nothing you lose when you help such children. We had to send her all the way to Canada for medical care. What happens when the child comes from or comes to a home whereby monetary support is more like a limiting factor?
Everybody.
To encourage herself and other people with her condition, Ayayi has composed several songs, and this is her latest song.
To check your mind, to do great things. I can't stretch my arm because I can't stretch my arm like everybody does. But with the help of God, I can stretch my brain so that I can do great things. Love me, okay? I love you guys, okay?